If you struggle with bad contacts, then today the video is for you. Today we're going to debunk hitting down on the golf ball, how to do it properly and not actually chopping down onto it. If you struggle with slices, pulls, thins and fats, this video is for you today. Let's dive in. So there is a big misconception in hitting down onto the golf ball. Now don't get me wrong, we want to hit down on it, but there's a certain way that we need to do it to keep the ball flight straight as well. So talking about hitting down on the golf ball, we obviously do want to do that when the golf ball is on the ground. Anytime the golf ball is on the ground, we want to hit down on it. That includes hitting woods, etc., stuff like that. So what actually happens then is with the descending blow, we actually create backspin on the golf ball. And as we create that backspin, that actually with other forces then creates the lift that we're looking for. So there are two really big misconceptions when trying to hit the golf ball off the ground. Now the first one we've just sort of debunked there in terms of actually having to hit down on the golf ball. Sometimes you'll see a lot of people trying to lift the ball through impact. That can obviously create, one, it can create fat contacts, two, it can create thin contacts. And if you think about the way that that club is coming into the ball, where I'm trying to lift it, I'm going to be releasing the club early. So I'm going to be swinging across the ball. That could create pulls and slices. But I'm also adding quite a bit of loft. So I'm going to have a bit of a loss of distance. You'll see it, especially into wind, you'll see there is a big loss of distance. There will be a video on not lifting the ball at some point in the near future, so if you feel like that is you, watch out for that one. The one we're going to be talking about today is the hitting down on the golf ball. So when people think they're trying to hit down on the golf ball, the swing becomes this chopping motion down onto the golf ball. Now if I do that chopping motion, my club path gets very out to in. Sometimes my loft gets so low that it goes quite low and quite left and probably goes quite powerful as well. Sometimes I will then lift back out of it, and as I lift back out of it, I'm going to start to throw that club because I want to get some loft on it. And I'm going to end up somewhere back here, so a little bit like that lifting shot where the shaft is probably behind the golf ball. We're adding a lot of loft. Again, still that swing path is across the ball, but I've added loads of loft, so then I go and hit it high right. So how do we get out of that? Well, first of all, we have to understand what we're trying to achieve with this golf shot. So if I use a alignment stick to diagram this, if I'm trying to hit more and more down onto the golf ball, my swing arc goes more and more vertical. So my swing plane, my vertical swing plane goes more this way. Now the more that I do that, the more straight up, straight down my golf swing becomes. And we don't want our golf swings to be straight up and straight down. If you have a look at how, with this alignment stick, if you have a look at how I set up, I'm away from the golf ball. So at some point, if we have a look at the spine angle, at some point, I'm going to have to rotate around on an arc. So now that I've got this arced golf swing, a little bit more like this, the middle of the arc is now the lowest point of the club. But we don't want the lowest point of the club on top of the golf ball. We want the lowest point of the club in front of the golf ball. So at some point in my golf swing, I'm going to have to move in a way that allows me to shift my low point more ahead of the golf ball. Now, what you can also see there is, one, my low point is slightly ahead of the ball, but two, because my low point is now ahead of the ball, I actually get to the golf ball earlier. And because I get to the golf ball earlier, my golf swing is now on a slight in to out path. So I'm creating a draw shape, a straighter slash draw shape than I would be if I'm on this arc that feels like it's straight up and down and I chop down onto it. The misconception that people have when they're trying to hit down onto the golf ball is they're just chopping down. But what actually needs to happen is you need to get ahead of the golf ball. You need to work this way on the golf ball to make sure that your lowest point of the club is somewhere around your lead shoulder, your left shoulder, so that creates this inward blow while still having the lowest point of the club ahead of the ball, getting that descending strike. So I can hear you asking how we're going to do that. Well, we're going to do two different drills. The first one we're going to do is what I call the Flamingo Drill. So you're simply going to take your normal setup. Lead foot goes slightly forward just for some balance. Back foot goes quite far back and just on the ball of your foot. Weight then goes into this lead side. And as you've done that, now all you're going to do is you're just going to swing on this foot line that you've created. So we're going to swing in on the way back and out on the way through. We should see that create this nice draw shape with that lead weight staying forward. We're going to see the strike point be somewhere here in front of the ball, which is going to create that nice descending blow that we're looking for with a good club path. So if we then go and just build that up slightly into a more fuller move. So I'm going to keep the concept very much the same without doing the drill. So we're going to go into this setup position. Okay, I felt like there was more weight on that lead side, so I'm going to shift a little bit of weight over there. See how I'm doing it? I'm doing it through the hip, not through the chest. So I'm going to get the hip over that side a little bit, and then I'm not going to move the feet, but I'm still going to feel like that same arc there. So I'm going to build it up to a 75% swing, feeling like it goes in to out, keeping that weight on that lead side a little bit more. So there we go, pretty nice contact. Tried to draw into target a little bit, but not bad at all as a shot goes. So that's your little start point to really keep that lead weight working forward and get that club path working in the right direction. You can see with the data from that shot that I've got this attack angle that was 7 down on the golf ball, which is quite a lot, but it's good for the drill. And I've got this club path that's working in to out. So both elements I got correct there to hit that shot shape. Now progressing the drill a little bit further to really get that shift going on so that we're not working that chop down onto the golf ball, we're working a shift this way. We're going to do the step drill. So you're going to start with, go to normal setup. We're then going to pull our left foot to our right foot, somewhere here. We're going to make a backswing, and as we do that, we're going to step forward, and you're going to see that shifting of the hip as we're working back. Now, the earlier you do this step, so when the arm gets sort of parallel to the ground, it's good to step forward early, okay? The earlier we step forward, the more likely we are to get that shift getting slightly more ahead of the golf ball. So we're here, we're going to take it nice and slow, and as I start to shift back, I'm going to step forward and hit. Now, something you might have seen me do a couple of times there, which I don't like doing, is as I step, my foot turns outwards. It's a lot easier for you just to spin and chop down on the golf ball if your foot turns outwards. Be very careful of this. I have to be very careful of it as well. As you step out, you almost want to feel like the heel is leading the move, because that way I've got to shift across, and you can see that then moves my path in to out. Then if I do this, you can see my lower body gets a lot more open. I can still get that chopping motion down onto the golf ball. Okay, so to set up, we just take one slow. Probably won't be the best of hits, but let's give it a go. Over here, we're going to start to make that backswing. As we start to make that backswing, I'm going to step out with a heel first. So here, there. Pretty nice contact. Again, slight push, but not bad at all. Again, if we're looking at the data, 4 down, pretty good for an 8 iron. And then club path got very draw bias there, so hence why I just hit a little push, but we've got it more draw biased than that choppy one down onto the golf ball. Right, let's give that a go with a little bit more speed. So we're going to go foot over, we're going to make that backswing, and as we start that backswing, I'm going to step forward. Now that was pretty solid. Drawing into the pin. I might just have to play golf like that now. Okay, so we can see again, angle of attack, head of the golf ball. Path got draw bias, so we're getting those elements that we want to for this golf shot. So now we've got a feeling of what that shift feels like. We're going to put that into the full move and we should get a really nice little draw shape. So we've got this setup position where we're feeling like we're leading with that left hip a little bit more. Right, we're going to feel like the hands go in and we're going to shift that hip forward. Not bad contact. Again, just slightly pushy, but if the green was that side, I mean, it was pretty bang on the number, so it was a good effort. You see there again, angle of attack. 6 down on it. I think that's why I'm pushing it a little bit, because I am getting a little bit more ahead of it than I normally would just for these videos. And then club path at 2, so really good for a little draw bias shot. So that should really help us shifting across to get the low point ahead, to get that descending blow on the golf ball, not this chopping down onto the golf ball. Golf swing, that should straighten the ball flight, give you more consistency in strike, and that should give you better golf. Please, if you like the video, please like it. If you don't subscribe to the channel, please do subscribe, and we'll see you next week for some more top tips.